Paul, world famous nowadays, and of course you're out there running him again. Art Lilly in the boat with you. This should be quite an attempt.
Yeah, we're going to enjoy it. We've been out there once well over the record, and it felt real good. Gets up on top, so like you're flying on the clouds.
Well, believe me, I wouldn't want to be in the boat. I know you're talking about good ride, but at those speeds, that's kind of scary. Talking about speeds, what kind of speeds do you have to get to the world record?
Well, for the twin-engine record, 123.91 is a record. For the triple-engine V-bottom record, which we set last year, that's 130.23, I believe. So we're going after the big one to try to see if we can't get the twin and triple record with this twin.
Well, Reggie, if anybody can do it, I'm sure you can, Steve. That's Reggie Fountain, Fountain Powerboats, and I think one of these days we're going to have to start saying Fountain Powerboats, one of the fastest fleets afloat. Back to you.
So far, so good. And Mark, you know, he mentioned twins and triples. Let's get a little bit in depth with that.
Steve, the history of the V-bottom world record is really quite interesting. This is probably the most sought-after record in all of boat racing. 5 times in the last 6 years this record's been broken. It all started back in 1990 when Reggie laid down a 114.585 mile-an-hour pass in a triple-engine 47-foot Fountain. Wellcraft, an arch rival of Fountain Powerboats, came back in a triple-engine boat of theirs, a little bit shorter, at 116.751. And then Reggie countered in a twin-engine 42-foot boat at 123.91. Wellcraft answered at 126.382 in a triple, and then Reggie came back last year at 130.246 in a triple-engine Ohio Steel, again a 47-foot Fountain. The mission here today, it's a matter of power-to-weight ratios. Reggie believes he can go faster in a little bit shorter, a 42-foot boat with just 2 motors than he went last year in a triple-engine boat with positive lift. We'll talk about that later. Carlos and Charlie's is on the course.
Mark, they're on the warm-up run right now, and from this point you can see perfect trim and attitude. You can literally see daylight underneath the hull.
That's right, Steve. Art Lilly and Reggie Fountain, 2 of the best in the business. They kind of drive these boats. They keep an eye on all the trim indicators and the gauges, but really it's a matter of feel, and nobody understands the business of going fast better than Reggie Fountain.
Well, just moments ago, Dragon Lady set the offshore D record, and Joe is down with the driver.
Sue, inclement conditions, snow, wind, choppy water, you still did it. Tell us about it.
Oh, Joe, it was just awesome. It was a little bit choppy out there, but the Dragon Lady likes that chop, and that helped us with the speed. Visibility coming back from the east to the west, it was very hard getting the one buoy, and you have to make sure that you're closer to that so you can have a good speed. You know, if not, it can make a lot of difference in your speed, and that was very difficult seeing. Of course, it's snowing out real bad now. It wasn't quite as bad as this, but we did it.
Well, congratulations. All I can say is you just keep on keeping on. It's unbelievable. Steve, the Dragon Lady, she just keeps getting faster and faster. Back to you.
Gotta love the smile there, Mark. She is very excited about her record run.
Quite a contrast, Steve, when we saw her in her pre-event interview where she looked a little bit kind of nervous and on edge, and then now it's just a tooth-to-tooth smile for Susan Reith. Congratulations to the Dragon Lady team.
And now she can relax and watch Reggie Fountain out here driving Art Lilly as they attempt their first run. The record, the previous record is 130.246. That is the mark they're going after right now.
Owner Jack Carmody watches nervously from the beach as they put the hammer down on those twin 1,400 horsepower engines developed by Troy Dennis.
Carlos and Charlie through the trap at 131.391. That is fast enough to break the record. But don't forget, they've got to come back the other way to make it a complete record. You know, we talk about offshore racing. You're always concerned with catamarans and V-bottoms. But let's, Mark, get into it a little bit about how V-bottoms really help the consumer down the road because of racing.
That's right. In offshore racing, there are the hybrid tunnel catamarans. Those are used strictly for racing purposes. Here we have V-bottom boats, and these offshore race boats are actually used as a proving grounds, as a technology developer for the pleasure boats that Fountain Powerboats builds. Reggie has a line of high-performance boats from 24 to 47 feet, and what he learns on the race course, he applies to these pleasure boats.
Mark, the speed just came in for the second run. It's a little slower at a 128.893 for a combined average of 130.142. He missed the record by a 1/10 of a mile an hour. Well, now Reggie Fountain's going to have to go back and rethink things here. He'll go back to the pit area and maybe retweak the engines.
It's commonplace in the world of automobile racing. Use racing technology to help improve the breed of the cars that we buy. The same thing applies in the world of high-performance pleasure boats. Reggie Fountain, a man who puts a little bit of boat racing into every boat he builds.
race and win on Sunday. It helps us to sell boats on Monday. And that's how we've grown to be the largest producer of high-performance power boats in the world. The technology that we learned while racing over the weekend is put into each and every model of the pleasure boats that we've built. And this makes them better. And by making them better, the consumers know they're getting a better product when they get the opportunity to ride in our boats. So we definitely feel that racing has had a positive impact on the technology that's incorporated in our boats and the boats that we sell from that superior technology.
And we're set for the second record run attempt of the afternoon for Carlos and Charlie. And as the boat heads out, you can see the conditions have changed a bit. Snow still flying, but we're starting to see some sunlight, and this could be a great indication that Reggie Fountain is ready to do battle and set the new record.
That's right, Steve. We've got about 20 minutes of daylight left, and if Reggie Fountain's going to get it done, he's got to get it done right now.
The boat in perfect trim. It is literally on rails, and he goes by at a blistering pace. The speed, 133.788 miles an hour. He's halfway home to the record.
Steve, almost 134 miles an hour. Those kinds of speeds have never been achieved before in a V-bottom hull.
Pass number 2, heading into the wind. This is the most difficult run of the day as he comes by. The time, 130.092 for a new world record of 131.940. Reggie Fountain gets the job done here in North Carolina.
Fists are flying in the cockpit of Carlos and Charlie's. Congratulations to Reggie Fountain and Art Lilly, and to Jack Carmody, who watches anxiously from the shore. We'll be back with the world record holders in just a moment.
Power and performance, speed and endurance, words that have become synonymous with Fountain Powerboats. Whether it's in the high-speed world of offshore racing or pleasure craft with a boating enthusiast, Fountain Powerboats has become the standard by which all other powerboats are judged. From Fountain's sleek appearance to its distinctive design, you know just by looking, it's a Fountain. Climb aboard, feel the power, hear the thunder, and you know it's gotta be a Fountain. Fountain Powerboats, because there is a difference.
Under adverse conditions, 0 all day long with blowing snow, but it was a great day for racing as we saw 2 new world records set.
That's right, Steve. 2 new world records and a couple of common denominators between both of the boats. First of all, obviously, both were manufactured by Fountain Powerboats. The other common thread, the man on the gas sticks, Art Lilly. Joe's with him right now. What about that first record run?
Holy cow, what a run that was. We were out in the snow was coming down. It was cloudy, foggy, drizzle. I mean, it was a mess out there. We could barely see the marker at the end of the run. So we got from local knowledge, we had a heading of which direction we had to go. We made a blast on it. Our first run was down a little bit, getting used to the boat. It's the first time we'd ran it with this kind of power on it. We put some extra carburetors on it and all that stuff. But it ended up that our second and third run were pretty consecutive. I think within a 100th of a second, around the 115-mile-an-hour mark. So it looks like on our first try that we ended up beating the old record by about 10 miles an hour.
Thanks, Art. And now let's find out what it took to win the unlimited world record. Here's Joe with Reggie Fountain.
Well, we've got a good team here and a good boat. The wind was high and it was cold and it was snowing while we were doing it, and it was a crosswind, but this little baby here with that new positive lift and twin engine configuration around 132 like a charm. With better conditions, maybe 135 or 6, but we'll settle for the 132 with these conditions.
Steve, you know, it's been a storybook season here for Jack Carmody, and actually his rookie year in offshore racing. Just 3 months ago, he scored the Modified World Championship, probably the most coveted prize in offshore powerboat racing down at Key West. A couple of months later, he comes back with some different engines in the boats and becomes the fastest V-bottom on the water. Congratulations also got to go out to the owner of the Carlos and Charlie's, Mr. Jack Carmody.
And Mark, for Art Lilly, throttleman for both world record holders.
That's right, Steve. You know, you hear a lot of talk back and forth on the waterfront about who builds the fastest race boats. I think today Reggie Fountain really proved the point beyond a shadow of doubt. It's also interesting to note he not only holds the kilo record, but Fountain Powerboats in the decade of the 90s is the only offshore builder to score a first-place overall win at an offshore race. No doubt about it, Fountain is number one.
And so for Dragon Lady, they set the record at 115.5 miles an hour in offshore D. And for Carlos and Charlie's, the unlimited record of 131.9.
As the excitement builds.